Welcome. The objective behind this web-based learning tool was to create a centralized hub of resources and information for secondary school students enrolled in my HPC 3.0 course. This particular set of modules is focused on the unit relating to parenthood and childhood. I took this course over from a retired teacher, which meant I inherited a lot of her old resources. From what I gathered, this course and this unit specifically has been delivered in a very sage on the stage sort of format, where students have been given hard copy text resources to read and then had independent or paper and pencil learning activities that followed. I wanted to revamp this to a 21st century approach that was more student-centered and interactive, as it would better align with my own teaching philosophy, and I felt it would lead to more positive learning outcomes for my students as well. With the objective coupled with the teaching and learning goals that I just mentioned in mind, it made the most sense for me to develop this web-based learning tool from a primarily cognitivist lens. I ensured that my web-based content was presented so that it encouraged students to explore the subject matter in their own way, and I provided key content and supplemental activities that enabled them to further expand their knowledge. I ensured plenty of opportunities for students to learn from each other in the form of collaborative tasks as well. Some additional learning theories that overlap with cognitivism were woven into this tool as well, including constructivist theory, particularly for the culminating inquiry-based project, connectivism with collaborative resource sharing and explicit teachings around seeking and evaluating information, and finally the ARCS model that helped guide my selection of learning materials and activities. When formatting this tool, I considered a number of instructional design principles as well. The coherence principle guided my decisions around layout and multimedia inclusions. The principle of collaborative learning ensured I selected tools my students are comfortable using and that are appropriate for the group discussions and collaborative activities within the modules. The segmenting principle guided my decisions around how to break down the unit into separate modules and how to further chunk the content for each module. And finally, the backwards design principle had me identify the targeted learning outcomes for the unit, determine how they would be met through an inquiry-based project, and worked backward to determine appropriate learning activities to reach the end goal. This web-based learning tool comprises 3 modules broken down into sections. The sections include various learning activities, both independent and group-based. I'll walk you through some of the examples of learning activities from each module. Module 1 focuses on parenthood. I introduced the idea of the different traditions associated with coming into parenthood with a play pause it video. So here, students view the video. I used one that already exists, but you can upload your own too. Then various multiple choice questions have been interspersed throughout. The video will pause automatically and prompt students for a response. It ensures they're attending and enables them to go back and rewatch it if there's something they need to revisit. Also in this module, students engage in a collaborative task supported by Padlet, whereby they reflect on a video by sharing their thoughts and providing feedback for their peers. Additional activities include a news article on Indigenous birthing practices with an accompanying WISER worksheet and a final reflective task. Module 2 again uses the WISER and Padlet platforms, and Module 3 introduces the culminating inquiry-based learning task. Another WISER worksheet is used as a planner for this project, but students will also use Floop to submit their artifacts for the project. Floop allows back and forth feedback between students and instructor, and it also has the capacity for peer review. One drawback of my tool is that it doesn't have as much built-in opportunity for teacher feedback throughout the first 2 modules. It is primarily student-driven discussion and collaboration using Padlet. As instructor, I am able to see student progress in WISER and play pause it for evaluation purposes, but in the free versions, I am unable to access the chat features that would enable some back and forth interaction. With Floop, however, I am able to provide feedback as are peers, which might mean I shift my practice to incorporate more Floop-friendly learning activities in future endeavors. Now, please take some time to navigate through this web-based learning tool to explore each module and its learning activities. You will also find an additional resources page that may be helpful to students during their culminating inquiry-based learning project, a references page, and a page devoted to the foundations of this learning tool, focusing on the learning theories and instructional design principles taken into account during the design process. Enjoy!